What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Online in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with kind of in what always seems to be a big episode. This one kind of is. It's going to be the last of the work that we're going to be doing on the lower half of the hull until basically it's time to paint the whole thing. Now, to review, I've talked a lot about it in the last couple of episodes, but they kind of in the magazine start prepping you to start painting the model, and I understand why. And there's going to come a point where it has to be done, basically where you can't flip the model over anytime soon. But you don't start assembling the interior of the model until about stage 90 or so, and we're on stage 56. I got a lot of parts to build. I've been building up parts, and like the whole painting phase does take a while to get through. And the realization has set in that I want that paint to basically be the same, like consistency, the weathering to be the same consistency, done around the same time with the same skill level. So the work that has been done with getting the base coat of the AS20 or the Insignia White on has been great. I've added all of the hull panel colors, the highs, the lows, the grays, the yellows, the browns, the reds. I've even done a little bit of, adding some rusty colors and a little bit of buff onto the bottom, which I'll show you guys here in just a little bit. But there's going to come a point where I don't need to like think about this again for a long period of time. And I hate to say it, but like all the work that's been done and all the stalling that's been done on this has just kind of been a moot point. I could have waited to do all the painting all at once. Now, obviously, I caught it at the end of summer. I had favorable conditions and I got an amazing paint job down. But that being said, it's one of those things where, oh boy, what are we going to do? So, I want to go ahead and finish up stage 56 and do a couple of other things as well. This is going to kind of be like the latest and last of the hodgepodge episodes where I'm just kind of putting together a bunch of random parts and stages and all of those different things. And this is all stage 56, by the way. But the amazing part is I'm going to go ahead and show you stage 56 right here, and then I'm only going to be following the instructions because everything for stage 56 is right here. We're going to hold on to these for the next episode or so when we start doing some plant-on details here, because instead of doing plant-on details during the build, they had us wait for some reason, and I get why they did, but here they understand, like, we're going to need to start putting these on now, because we're going to be assembling the top of the hull pretty quick. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get on to the beginning of stage 56 in a way, in the sense that let's talk a little bit about what has been done. All right, so I would show you guys something real quick. I need to clear up some space, but I'm going to go ahead and do I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of quick little, I don't know, segments here where I'm going to basically show you what's been done, because what I didn't mention in the previous segment is that I have completed all of the decals for the lower hull. This was important in this part of the phase because, want to get them on before a mist coat. And, you want to basically get it to the point where, you get those decals on and you get them on so where you can either weather them after the little bit of weathering is done. Long story short, basically I've gotten all of the decals on, and so I'm going to go ahead and show you just basically not a couple of clips, just one kind of extended clip here of me very fastly putting on all of the decals. And when we come back, we'll talk about how we've painted all of our thrust vector plates and all of that in preparation for this. So enjoy this quick little segment where my hands are going to move really fast, and these were all caught during different streams over the last couple weeks with Hobby Time Modelers. So enjoy me putting on decals really fast. All right. So I really love editing these days. The making my hands move really fast, and just knowing that I'm in the recording phase, but at this point, when I'm recording, I'm also kind of editing in my mind for content. And let's just say this: I 100% know what you guys just saw, and it was a lot of work. Decals and I don't really get along, but I gotta say the decals that I picked up from Etsy for this model turned out fantastic. I have to say that um, basically the work that was done on them went onto the same transfer paper that Bandai uses for the perfect grade. And the decals, because I'm doing both the decals for both models right now at the same time, I'm doing the same decals for both models, and they're both going on perfectly. And so I'll go ahead and show that to you guys here in a minute when we bust out the main model. But so the decals are done. I have done a lot of kind of the weathering to get up to this point where I'm comfortable moving on to the rest of the build because we're going to start working primarily on the top of the hull. We're going to be doing a bunch of work up there. By stage 70 or so, we need to start working on the mandibles. So we're quickly moving through and getting a lot of this work done as we move on to the second half of this model. So what I've done during the painting phase is I also went through, and I'm having regrets right now, by the way, guys. I don't know why. I didn't have much time that day, like when I was going to do my last round of painting. I had kind of like an opportune window during like late October, where the weather was favorable, the conditions were still favorable, basically. And so instead of like taking all the parts off, labeling them, cleaning up, I went ahead and just painted them on the sprue. So what I have is my Vallejo Insignia White. This is a little bit warmer of a white, which is totally fine. Which actually I like for the sake of like offering different sort of layers of color to the model. But I'll be using this as needed as we go ahead and snip off some of our parts from their sprues. Very rookie mistake on my part, but hey, it's a lot of little parts to keep track of. And I painted this a couple months ago, and I would not want to like just been transporting around that piece of cardboard. So as I justify it to myself and you guys, here's the rest. I did go through and get all of these assembled, glued together. The fuel pressure stabilizers, these are all ready to go. And there are 3 gray panels that we put on the bottom, with 2 light gray and 1 dark gray. And then I brush painted these. And I wanted to brush paint them so that some of the weathering can kind of come through just with the brush strokes. And I'm actually really pleased with how this turned out. We'll do a little bit of chipping and a little bit of paint chipping and all sorts of different sorts of chipping later on. But I attempted to get some of the weathering done on these. And then once again, all of our different parts have been painted with the Insignia White. So for the tools today, I got my Vallejo Model Air, my Insignia White here. I'm not using the AS20. I really am not a big fan of lacquer inside without a paint booth, and I really don't want to deal with that right now. I have my eraser, small file, pair of single-bladed nippers, and then my glue tool that I like to use. So let's go ahead. Stage 56 would normally see us opening this up. No, we're not going to do that today. This is going to be set aside to the next episode, as I mentioned. And man, I love this where you get a package where it says stage 56, but it's actually everything from before it. So let's go ahead and open up the book for stage 56. All right, so let's go ahead and review the book real fast, talking a little bit about the Skytop Station Battlesphere. This is something that's from the Clone Wars, which is really, really cool. Different, talking about Trade Federation and the CIS, the Confederation of Independent Systems, who really weren't actually the bad guys when you really think about what was going on. Here's a little bit of Star Wars science for you. And then our parts and the instructions. So there they are, and I believe it continues on to the back page. So that's what we're going to be working with today. I'm going to go ahead and slide all this stuff off to the side now, and let's go ahead and take a look to see what's been done. Let's just go ahead and get all of our parts. I like to display them out because I'm a weirdo. I'm going to go ahead and set all that aside, slide all these off to the side, and let me pull out this behemoth of a model, which I think I may not even be giving myself enough room for. All right. So I have my screws set in the position where I can flip it over and have it landed. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see how much of this I can get into the frame. There we are. So, sorry, buddy. Move Kit out of the way here. And without trying to move too much here, I'd try not to drag these screws. There we are. All of our decals are on there. Now, obviously, I did not put a gloss coat down first. Obviously, there might be some regrets with that. I've been going through with Mark Softer and trying to melt those into the paint a little bit. And it's been working actually fairly well. It just takes a little bit of time to get those decals put in. If there was a regret, it was not doing that first on both of my models. But hey, it is what it is. Overall, though, I'm very pleased with where we are at with everything. I may have gone a little too heavy on the rusty areas. I can always bring that back down with some more AS20 later on, which I may just do. But I've gone through and just took some of the AS20 and did some scraping and chipping and splatting and just put a little bit of that paint around, give it a little bit of that weathered effect. And then once again, like we have all of our decals on here. So let me go ahead and bring this up closer to the camera. You can catch some of the decals on there. There's not tons of them, but they're around. Yeah. They're very subtle. There are some though that are a little bit more pronounced, like the VM 533 and a couple of others, but let's see if I can get some of the ones over on this side in there. Yeah, this model is kind of heavy, and I'm trying not to hold it from a weird spot. So, but yeah, so there are all of the decals. Our mist coat is down. Our first mist coat. I'm going to be doing a couple of them to bring down the color a little bit. I'm pleased with the tone that I'm getting out of some of the reds. It might be a little bit bright around here, around this edge. But once again, the Falcon is a dirty ship. And I'm not trying to be screen accurate on this. I'm just trying to be accurate to the style of model that we're building. So basically, it's a space freighter, it's dirty, it's weathered, and I'm going to use as much of the reference material as I can, but I am not going to be bound by feeling like I need to stay screen accurate. That doesn't sound like any fun to me, to be honest with you guys. And so for me, I want to build and use the skills that I've learned so far to be able to basically take me to where I need to be on this. So that's what we've gotten done so far. And it's when we get into stage 56, I'm looking forward to getting all these little plant-on details ready to like put in place, get all of this done, and then kind of just get this like put away for a little while. We're not going to be touching this again until, well, I think in the 70s or 80s is when we're going to start really looking at the whole model. Really, we're not going to be done with the mandibles until about the mid 80s or so. And once we have the mandibles, the top, everything all together, then we're going to need to start thinking about what the paint is going to look like. So, here in the coming months, like I will have up through stage 71 here in the coming weeks. As we get through here into the coming months, like as we start to pull up to the finish line, like we are, like getting to that point soon. And then I also need to wait for weather to be a little bit more favorable for painting, which could take a couple months. So, all that said, I'm really glad to be getting this put together and finishing getting all the greeblies put on so that I can kind of move on to the rest of the build because I'm stacking up. I think I got like 10 stages sitting around with another 5 on the way. So let's go ahead and get to building and starting up stage 56 by opening up our magazine and seeing where we are going to go. Okay. So first things first, we're going to start by putting all of our thrust vector plates on. And to do so, I'm going to go ahead and slide the model over. And I'm going to do this, what I do for you guys in the sake of entertainment. I am going to do this so you guys can see what's going on as I'm building. And I won't necessarily have the most easy time seeing what I am doing. So There are, let's see here. So one of our thrust vector, one of our these things, or one of our thrust vector plates, we have the 3 gray ones, which is going to be on the far right over here. The 2 lighter gray ones. So we're going to put these up here. There we are. And then we get one of these. These are going to go in the middle. There we go. And there's one that is a little smaller than the others, and I went ahead and marked that with a decal. That one sits right in the very middle. It is a different size than the rest. So we're going to go ahead and put that there. Now, there is one that is smaller, so you want to make sure you get that one set aside, because if you try to put it in the wrong spot, for instance, like right here, it's not going to quite fit. It's a little bit smaller, designed to fit in right there. Now, the Perfect Grade Falcon had us with all the same size, and I see why they did that, because in order to put this box on, you would have had to have assembled this first and then put the box on top of it for the Perfect Grade Falcon. So obviously there's a big difference between the models. So anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and start by assembling, and we're going to go ahead and put one of our regular ones on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a spot of glue. I'm going to grab our glue and put it a little bit closer to me over here. And I'm just going to take some glue and run it on my pin vise right over the tabs. There are 3 tabs on each one. There we are. And we are going to go to the ends there and right into place. I'm going to hold that one in place for just a moment. All right, now we're going to grab one of our light gray ones and do the same thing. Hold that in place. And just a regular one. So it's basically going to go as I focus on the glue. Hold that one in place. It's going to go light, so regular light gray, regular light gray. And then we're going to go light gray all the way across until we get over here where we're going to put the dark gray one on. I'm going to go ahead and get these plugged in, and I will be right back. All right, so as we get up here to the middle one, once again, just to denote, it is a different size than the rest. And it will be immediately obvious, but don't try to don't think that you have a broken one or what have you. It's just a different size. So that one is just for the same. And when I figured that out, like I said, I put one of the decals on there. We still have a couple of them on to put on the thrust vector plates. We'll take care of that later on. I'm so tired of putting decals on right now. I don't want to do it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these. All right, so there we are. All of our thrust vector plates are put onto place. It takes a second. Be a little patient as you're going through. And just make sure that all your glue down points are nice and secure. Everything feels good. I think it looks really good. So next we're going to go ahead and take our fuel pressure stabilizers, and these are going to fit into these slots right here. So we have one, what do we have? We have 4 of them, right? So we have one, where are we? Oh, I can't see it right over there. There we are. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go ahead and get these glued into place. And all we're going to do is just glue right through here on the tab. Then get a little bit of glue onto the flat surfaces. Just like so. And go ahead and get it plugged into place. Now it fits in there real nice, but you're going to want to make sure it's sitting straight up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place for just a moment. And there we are. Let's go ahead and switch over to the side camera, see if we can see that. Yeah, there we are. So there we go. Let's go ahead and turn in and, nope, not zoom out, but maybe zoom in. There we are. So I'll leave that one on while I go ahead and put the next one in place. I've already used quite a bit of my CA today so far. I figured I was going to be using a lot today, as this is the first of many, many episodes to record. I'm trying to get caught up on this model a little bit and get some extra recording done while I got some opportunities. So the next one's going to go into place. Go ahead and get my big fat hand out of the way. Right into place right there. Clip that in. Make sure it's sitting down flush. Make sure it's sitting straight. Hold it. And we are good to go. That looks really good. Let's go ahead and get over looking at the next one here. It's going to be right there. Beautiful. So, get a little bit of glue going. All right, and see if we can get that on the screen. There's our piece. Once again, there's what the tab looks like at the very bottom. Perfect. Gonna get it a little bit along the inside of the tab here on each side. And then just a little bit on the bottom there. And then, fat fingers out of the way. Slot it into place. There we are. Make sure it's sitting straight up and down. And there we go. Now what I'm noticing too is that these are sitting over the points where the individual thrust vector plates were assembled. So it's kind of holding them down in a way, which I do appreciate the design of. All right, so here is the last one. Let's go ahead and turn the camera a little bit over there. And it's going to go right here. So, into my glue. Yep, I'm going to need a refill. I filled that whole basin full of glue, too. I used a lot today. All right. And then right into place. Clip it in. Hold it. Make sure it's sitting straight up and down. And there we are. There are the 4 fuel pressure stabilizers and, let's see, all of the thrust vector plates installed. Very, very cool. Okay. So I guess I'll go ahead and keep this camera angle here as I do a little bit of a refill on the glue. I have Soji sitting here staring at me wondering who I'm talking to. As I like to say when I'm recording, I am sitting in here talking to the many faithful fans. Or myself. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take these 2 pieces right here, these 2 little Y-shaped pieces, and we are going to put them in place. How does this go? Just like this. So that one's going to sit like that, and then this one's going to sit just like that. So I think maybe we switch over to the top camera for this one. And what we're going to do Because we have a couple of mounting tabs right there, here, and there. Gonna get our CA on those. And then a little bit on the flat surface. Don't need to go too crazy. And first one slot into place. Hold it down. Excellent. Do the same thing with the other. And then we'll switch back over to the other camera and take a look. My fat fingers were fat hands were getting in the way. So there we go. That one put into place. Excellent. Let's switch over. There we are. So I see that this one is sitting up a little bit. So push that down. There we go. Turn towards the camera. So that's what that centerpiece looks like right there. Excellent. Okay. So there is the entire thruster or the thrust vector plate assembly all taken care of. Very, very cool. As you can see, the model sticks out quite a bit from the desk. So yeah, there's that. Also one of the very cool decals as it focuses in. Sits right there. And then of course this is upside down, but it says right there, see if it'll focus on it. It says drive safely. Very cool. Okay. So now let's go ahead and get into, oh buddy, where are we going to be putting all of these stuff? So let's grab the issue 44 sprue, which is going to be right, got 45 and 44. Let's go ahead and cut this off and trim it. We'll see if I need to add any of the AS20, and if I do, well, there'll be some long cuts in between as I let it dry. Nah, we're good. Can't even tell. All right. So that one is going to get put into place. Where does it go? Oh, I see. So let's switch over to the top camera. And it might be hard for you guys to pick out, but right here, there's a little hole. You can see it right below where my glue point is. So that hole is where that mounting lug is going to get mounted into place. And then on the opposite side over here, there is another mounting lug where the little clip at the end here. Oh, goodness me. There we go. Where that clips into place. So, I'm going to go ahead and just put a spot of glue on each one of those. I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers, because fat hands in a small space don't necessarily work very well. And we're going to go ahead and slot that into place. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hold that for just a moment, and I'll be right back. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, I'm assuming. Oh, buddy. Let's flip the model around. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, and I will be right back. There's no way you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing here, and I need to be able to see what I'm doing here. All right, so that one's put into place. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We're going to go ahead and grab, this piece here. This one right there. I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. And all of the different pieces off of this sprue, and I'm going to go ahead and set them right here. Okay, so now I got all my parts taken off. Let's go ahead and get our pieces assembled And so this little piece right here, that one is going to fit in. Oh, where are you? Right here. So let's grab our tweezers. A little bit of glue. And get it all on the back there. Make sure we got enough. Grab my glue. For my part. Slot it into place. Just like so. Do the same thing on the other side. And there we are. Oh. Of course, it's stuck to myself. There you go, Eric. And there we are. Now it's put into place. Now this tiny little piece right here, this wouldn't get lost at all. Not at all. That one is going to go into place right here above the drive safely sign. Or decal, excuse me. There we are. That's why this is one of the principal reasons why I wanted to do the decals before I did this. I saw this stage right here. Looking ahead and studying your instructions always helps. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our... Oh, there's still a piece in there, Jordan. Yeah, genius. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this piece right on top here and set in place. And it's because of this particular part where I'm going to stop using the plastic sheet or the plastic pieces for the bottom. Like at this point, I'm going to be using the screws to support the model as it sits inside of its box going forward. I just don't want to deal with that plastic piece anymore, and I want to get this all done. I could wait to get these done, and I may be making a mistake. You guys can let me know if I'm doing so, but for me, I am totally fine with not using the supports anymore on it, as it is getting annoying to deal with that thing. Okay. There we are. Gonna go ahead and hold that down in place for just a moment. And there we are. Excellent. So now we can go ahead and switch over to the top camera, as we're going to be putting some of our plant-on details up in this general area. So that sprue is done. Excellent. Always feels good to clear out a sprue. All right, so next up, we're going to need to go ahead and grab the sprue from issue 47. And note that they are in right and left pairs, it does look like. So we have these two ladder pieces and then two different sets of pipes. We're going to go ahead and separate those off, and I'm going to go ahead and set them on top of the model. Get them all cleaned up. All right, all of our parts have been cleaned up, ready to go. They're all sitting right up here up top. Kind of hard to pick out in the hull because, of course, they are. Let's go ahead and start with grabbing our ladder pieces. And oh, almost dropped one here. Go ahead and grab one of those, and that is going to fit into place. I see. So these are actually going right up here. So there are two little notches right here and two little notches here. That's where these go. So I'm going to go ahead and simply just dip the feet into the CA. Get them into a spot. And then where they meet, grab a little bit of CA, my applicator, tweezers. And get a little bit on the end here. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Now I know what to do better here on this next one. Put the CA on the end of this one first before dipping it in. There we go. All right, that one's put into place. Excellent. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the smaller L shape. And we're going to be moving over to the back over here, I believe. Or is no, we're right up along the front here. So let's go ahead and slide over. Move up. There we go. All right. So here on the end of this pipe, kind of hard to pick out, but there is a little tab there. And you'll see right here, there is a tab there. We're going to go ahead and get some CA on here. And using our tweezers, slot that into place. Going to do the same thing on the other side. Oh. Hard to hold that precisely in place. There we are. Get that snugged in. There we are. Excellent. And then we're going to move to the back. And we're going to go ahead and go back over here. And then these ones are going to go into place just like so. So a little bit of CA onto the end of each one of these. Get them to stand up properly. There we are. And our final piece for the day goes into place. The other sprue for stage 57 or 56 or on 47, the other 47 sprue we'll be using later on. All right, excellent. Let's get that hooked up and put into place. Of course, I've glued myself several times now today. As is with these plant on detail episodes, that tends to be the case. All right, so there it is. Beautiful. All right, so there it is. Stage 56 finally completed. We are finally done with the lower half of the hull for the foreseeable future. I don't see us needing to do anything with it unless we want to kind of take it out on a stream, do a little bit of weathering work if I'm feeling inspired to do so. But I'm also feeling inspired to put this away and be done with it for the next little bit as we move on to the next phase of the model. So here we are. There's been a lot of work done today. Really, it's been the culmination of several weeks worth of work as I've gone through and done several layers of painting and chipping and decals, and just the amount of work just to get here has been pretty amazing. So there it is, my friends. The last we're going to see at the bottom of the hull for the next little while. I'll go ahead and on the way out, I'll go ahead and give a little video with a little close-in detail of the model, shot with my phone where I'm able to get a little bit closer with my DJI gimbal. So we'll go ahead and do that as the outro. So I just want to say thank you. In this next episode, we are going to be moving on to stages, I believe it's 58 and 59. Maybe do a couple more. It depends on how much I'm able to get done. But that being said, we're going to get moving on with the build and really starting to make some forward progress on this model as we really start to move towards the 3/4 mark, which I'm about to have the parts for basically very soon. So that's what I got for you today. I hope you guys do enjoy the little close-in outro that I'm going to do for you guys. But because that's what I got for you today, I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember, my friends, that this is the way.